On February 27, 2026, in Los Angeles, Neil Sedaka's long journey quietly reached its final note. He was 86 years old. The announcement from his family was brief. There were no long speeches, only a confirmation that a life which had moved through more than 6 decades of popular music had come to an end. Yet the silence did not last very long. Within hours, radio stations began returning to the songs that had once filled their playlists decades earlier. Digital platforms placed his name again among familiar titles. Old melodies began circulating once more, moving through speakers, headphones, and car radios exactly as they had done many years before. The rhythm of his life had stopped, but the rhythm of the songs had not. Those songs had begun far away from Los Angeles, long before record labels, television studios, or international tours existed. They began inside a modest apartment in Brooklyn, where an upright piano stood against the wall and traffic noise drifted constantly through the window. Neil Sedaka was born on March 13, 1939 in Brooklyn, New York. His family lived in Brighton Beach, part of a working-class neighborhood where everyday life moved between crowded streets, small apartments, and long work hours. His father, Mordecai Sedaka, drove a taxi to support the family. His mother, Eleanor, believed that talent required discipline. When she noticed that her son responded strongly to music, she did not treat it as a passing hobby. She believed it needed training. Inside their apartment, the piano gradually became the center of the room. An elementary school teacher first noticed the boy's unusual ear for melody and suggested formal lessons. Eleanor worked additional hours and eventually purchased a used upright piano so her son could practice every day. From that moment forward, the routine rarely changed. Neil sat at the keyboard for hours. His small hands moved across the keys slowly at first. Then again. Then again. Mistakes were repeated until they disappeared. Passages were practiced until they sounded clean and steady. Precision came from repetition. In 1947, when he was only 8 years old, Sedaka earned a scholarship to the preparatory program at Juilliard. While other children spent Saturdays playing in the street, he traveled into Manhattan to study music theory and piano technique. Inside those classrooms, the atmosphere was quiet and focused. A metronome ticked steadily. Sheet music rested under bright lights. Each note was read carefully, corrected immediately if it sounded wrong, and practiced until it moved forward without hesitation. Those early years shaped the structure of how he would work for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, another sound was entering the apartment back in Brighton Beach. The family radio sat near the window, broadcasting programs that mixed classical recordings with short, catchy popular songs. Between formal exercises and classical pieces, new melodies began forming in his mind. They were shorter, simpler, easy to remember after only one listen. At the age of 13, an unexpected introduction created the partnership that would shape his early career. A neighbor heard him playing piano and introduced him to a young lyric writer named Howard Greenfield. Greenfield was 16 and searching for someone who could compose music for his lyrics. The two teenagers began meeting regularly. They sat beside one another at the piano with loose sheets of paper scattered across the lid. Lyrics were written, crossed out, rewritten. Melodies were tested, choruses shortened, verses rearranged. Their earliest songs sounded theatrical. But as rock and roll began reshaping American music, they adjusted their style. The environment that sharpened their skills was the Brill Building in Manhattan. The building contained dozens of small offices where songwriters worked side by side. The sound of pianos drifted through the hallways. Demos were recorded on simple tape machines. Writers moved between rooms carrying lyric sheets and rough recordings.